Welcome along, everybody, to RPL Season 15 F1 at Zandvoort, a sprint weekend as well. Round 12 of the season, and it is the first time in RPL history at this specific point of the season that the championship gap is 2 points. We'll have a lot to talk about, that being said, and it's a long weekend ahead of us, but definitely one with a lot to offer. I'm your commentator for tonight, Ryan Ocon31, and alongside me I have RPL Titan Iron. This race weekend is definitely going to be interesting, not just for the sake of the championship gap, but it's the 10th sprint all time. The championship gap now is down to 2 points between two teammates, and we have a third contender in the background who won last week, his second race of the season, and could potentially make his way into this title fight. It's similar to Season 8 with him, with an outside chance, but it is possible based on the way these races have happened, just like last week in Hungary, Titan, where Rhys Dainty ended up winning the race on a last lap overtake. He didn't win the race on track, but he did get the victory based on penalties that race leader HSR Gecko had and a pass on Cookie that was kind of helped by TB. Oh, make sure your audio is included. That'll definitely do it.
About it. Okay, I'll repeat again on it, but
yeah,
definitely very good for this race coming up here, and good afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. 10th sprint in RPL's history, and as you said, that championship fight between Cookie, Gecko, and Rhys. Rhys is sitting on the back door, just staring in from that back door, waiting to come in, just like a dog waiting for a fine dining feast to come his way.
Yeah.
But Gecko and Cookie being the two highlights at this present time. This could get interesting because would it mean that the two teammates, they're gonna really figure out something and change up all the time, or is it gonna get to a point that they're what's the word I want to say? Their ideologies and racing styles, they would just clash over and result in Rhys closing in even closer, making it a really close three-way fight.
We have had two teammates collide in the championship contention at this point of the season. We're in the second half, and it was Jack and TB not too many seasons ago for McLaren who did end up doing so. A full grid tonight, 22 drivers, only the 5th time that's happened. Not only this season, but in RPL's history. This should be fun. I'm looking on Rhys' stream to see the weather for the sprint qualifying. It is a short qualifying session. We're looking at 2, maybe potentially 3 runs here. Doubt that'll happen. But with the championship standings, we also got to talk about Mercedes leading the constructors in the meantime as well. They don't really have any competition at this point in time. And oh boy, the main race looks to potentially be wet, but it is a dry weekend until then. So we might have a chance of rain in the race. It says dry conditions and overcast, but 10 minutes in, it does show rain. So we're going to find out come the race if that does tend to be true, but a dry weekend for the time being. So no, what I was going to say is that Mercedes, we do have to talk about at some point eventually what race they will be locking up this constructor's title. Gecko and Cookie have been a good lineup so far. Cookie with more wins than Gecko, but behind him in the championship due to missing 2 races. Gecko does seem to have been the better driver in the races. Cookie the better one in qualifying, 6 poles to Gecko's 2.
Mm-hmm.
And Hungary last week, speaking of the 2. Cookie, that soft strategy on the late safety car, fell from P1 to P3. Gecko P3 after it was all said and done, but one on track. And so some headlines, penalties, changes. We have Alex Norris serving a qualifying ban at his next race. I don't believe he's here tonight. That's why Torn Penguin and Andy are in the Red Bull. Chandler Seda, Merck Academy Reserve. He's in the Williams tonight. He raced in the Xbox side of F1 Esports when they had their little thing going on a few years ago. So definitely a very talented driver. Cookie and Miniko, who are Miniko's supposed to be here. I don't see him on here.
I believe Bobby's in his
Oh, no, not backed out.
Sorry.
That might be why. You're right. I think you might be right. Bobby might be. But I was going to say with Miniko, you know, those two drivers, Cookie, Miniko, they have raced Chandler Seda in a league called BRL. So not too unfamiliar. Cookie signed to Ferrari for next season. We'll talk about next season a little bit. With lap starting, we'll get back to that part later on. Savage to Red Bull for the remainder of the season, I saw. And Reese extended with McLaren. We have a Maxwell return, which is nice to see. Not the first time that's happened. And a Blugagi loan for tonight. So we have lots of headlines. There's some drivers on debut, I'm pretty sure as well. I believe this might be Andy's first time racing. This is for Red Bull. Lots of things to look forward to, Titan, as we got laps starting to happen.
Yes, the first person that's currently doing the benchmark as this is Josh433 in the Haas. And one piece of interjection here, since you mentioned about with the weather, mentioning about rain possibly showing up during the main race. I have a feeling that probably one driver, his ears perked up hearing that at this particular track, that being Red Fire, because
Yes.
if it wasn't for certain aspects and a very quick Ferrari, Red Fire was very close to getting a win while driving for Alpine way back in season 7.
Yup.
But rain in this track,
podium as well that day.
yeah, rain in this track will be very nice. It's very nice for Red Fire.
Not uncommon either. We had numerous qualifying sessions in the past with wet to dry or dry to wet and wet races. We'll go over that in a little bit. Josh setting the benchmark, 18.3. We're going to see who follows him. There's not as much to talk about in this session in terms of eliminations or where people will be. It's just going to be plain hot laps. Use that battery. Time it right. Chandler across the line. Then Optic. Then Goat Lee. Let's see who's starting a lap. See if we can get anybody on hand there. How about TV finishing a lap? Because he was a main highlight in turn. Oh, 5-place grid penalty for contender in the championship, Cookie. This is for the sprint, though, so not going to affect him too badly, but a collision with another driver. Gecko fastest. TB, I was just going to talk about him going second because he had a main role to play in last week's race for the victory, but Cookie 5-place grid penalty. That's huge. We're going to see how that affects him. I don't see any damage, but again, even if he qualifies in pole, still going to start a best of 6th.
Yeah, I just took a look at it on the alert. It was a collision with Tornado Kane in the V-Carb, and I just looked on him. He has heavy damage on the left side of the front wing. And I looked at the track map. It was basically right in that right hand to left hand corner at the beginning of sector 3.
Reese Dainty is about to start a lap, and I want to pay attention to him. RPL Search, the old name he used to have. Going a little throwback to that.
Oldie but a
We're going to
goodie.
watch throw the car into turn 3. Banked corner as well. You want to go to the low line? You want to go to the high line? You want to prioritize entry or exit speed? Your choice. We go to the sector split. We're going to see what the time looks like. He's on the medium tire, by the way. I should pull up the tires. And most of the field's going to be on medium tires, with that being said, with the sprint format. We have a few more corners remaining in the sector. Reese right now at half battery, but that straight mode will be enabled. You're going to see that battery drain. Cookie to the top. And remember, if he does get pulled right now in this sprint format, he's not going to keep it because of that 5-place grip penalty. Reese dipped the wheel in for a moment in the kitty litter. Not too much of an effect, it looks like. Purple in that middle sector. If he can somehow split between Gecko and Cookie, it would mean technically provisional pole. He will get a little bit of a tow in the distance from the car ahead, but across the line, it is third fastest. And again, just like the entire season, he's just right behind both Mercedes at the moment. 17 cars have completed laps. Not all of them representable, but that is of the 22 drivers who have a chance in this session. And Gecko's going for another one, I believe. I think I saw him pushing on this lap. Dom and Devil Driver, their sessions are done with. Not sure what happened there, but we have Gecko crossing the line. Is this going to be enough to snatch it on track for the pole position, even though Cookie with that 5th place would lose it anyway? It is 9-7 Gecko, top, 31 thousandths the deficit. And TB also improved in the process as well, Titan. So it's not just Reese who's close to the 2 Mercedes. TB putting himself in the conversation at the moment with 5 minutes to go in sprint qualifying.
Yeah, absolutely. Very sorry. Just had a tiny distraction. Getting Devil Driver back into the session. Because he wanted to leave, and that's why I had to get him back. But
yeah, no worries.
Could you mind repeating what you said previously?
Yeah, I was going to say TB in the conversation with Reese, not just Reese trying to put himself in the conversation with the 2 Mercedes, TB as well, and he won this race, by the way, Titan. Not only in season 10, but he also got a pole in that season 7 race you were talking about as well here. So 2 poles this track for TB, and one of them being a victory. Stole it from Korsman, home hero in the storage room that day.
Very solid then. Well, yeah, TB definitely throwing himself into the interjection sense, and definitely will be interesting to see how he will fare, as this is just a sprint qualifying with just under 4.5 minutes left to go. And apparently, I just found out we are now going to be down to 21 drivers because Devil Driver said he is not joining back because ABS is off and he cannot drive without it off.
Gotcha.
So I guess he can handle himself with ABS on, but can't, I guess. But
down 1 driver for the event then.
Yep.
So just 21. 22 did start the weekend. We have an Aston crossing the line. 17th behind teammate Blugagi.
Do we have any history on him? Because do we have any history on this? I'm gonna butcher his name. Lenzino or something? Because I do not know this individual.
Yeah, I don't think I do either. There is, I must say, since Halfway Titan, they've definitely done a lot of recruiting, a lot of new drivers in this field. I don't think so. I'd have to look into it for sure.
Huh?
Same thing with the Red Bull driver of Andy. I have no idea there, but he is starting a lap, and he does have some traffic near him. One of the Williams exiting the pit lane, just try and come back out on track. Just the way you can throw the car into the bank corner is just one of the best things about this circuit. It's really much of a shame that it is going to be going off the F1 calendar after this year. And yeah, already halfway on that battery, so there is definitely a lot to look forward to in terms of the way you start to lose energy down the back straight and down the main straight when you come across the line. There's definitely a lot of factors that will be playing into how much of a buffer you may have over the next guy in front of you or behind you. Look at the amount being used into the final sector. 0.7 of an improvement. Guessing where he lost it is in this final sector to not have it be a representable time. A little bit of a tank slapper there, but I must also say as well, he was able to rear lock it into the corner and just throw it in there. We're going to find out if this is enough to get him into the top 10 at all. And maybe your teammate Torn Penguin, best of the rest. It is top of the board.
Wow.
9-6 for Andy. Red Bull have some light at the end of the tunnel. It may only be sprint qualifying. That is a really good sight to see. Andy, driver on debut, I believe.
That's a very good, respectable lap right there. Only 52 thousandths ahead of Gecko on your start too. This is very interesting. I mean, Torn Penguin and those at Red Bull, I think you guys outdid yourselves finding a good competitive driver in regards to qualifying pace.
Speaking of qualifying, Titan chat, we would love to see your predictions for sprint qualifying, sprint pole. Who do you think is going to get it? Who do you want to see get it? Give us your final predictions. And someone who needs some hope to maybe not be down the grid, Titan, is Cookie, who's currently in Sector 1. We're going to see if this is an improvement or not. I'm going to have you take this one. It's just really interesting to see where he's going to line up with that grid penalty.
Yeah, absolutely. Here he comes into his first sector. He's up by 2/10, so definitely not going to be that much there, but It is the first sector. Anything can change here as he heads to, I believe this is turn number 9, and getting into the to the right left-hander of turn 10, gets to that straight mode active with the overtake engaged, flying down towards sector 2 split. 4/10 up, TB goes to top now with a 9.4 on his part.
Track Evolution is getting insane to end this qualifying session. Cookie only has a couple more corners to go. Torn Penguin puts himself up there, second place. Cookie's really going to be dropping if he does not improve, but we know the first and second sector were looking great. Is the final sector even better? It is 9-3 provisional pole, which is end up going to be sixth when it's all said and done with that grid penalty for the time being. We do have some incidents happening for drivers ending their laps behind, but Gecko 3/10 now as we get to the sector split, the second sector that is. And right now we're looking at Reese Dainty first, going to cross the line before Gecko. Is he going to find time with Slipstream from the car in front? That's the V car, but is he going to do anything with it? Only fourth. Sorry, the Racing Bull. But Gecko, can he snatch it on Cookie regardless of the grid penalty? He can. It is a 9-2. Red Fire puts himself up there in sixth. It is going to be, by the looks of it, a sprint pole for Gecko over teammate Cookie, which is going to drop him down to seventh, which is going to be massive for the sake of this championship heading into the sprint and the main race as well. But TB third, Penguin fourth, Reese Dainty rounding out the top 5.
Ooh, man, this is nice qualifying there, and look at this with this top 3 separated by just exactly a 1/10.5 by that top 3. You gotta love how close qualifying can be in this field, literally. And also going further, the top 10 1 second exact.
Lugagi found an improvement at the last moment, 18th ahead of teammates and Lyro Fusion. Max Lana return down there in 17th. Chandler, not a bad showing as well from him. So we'll look through our qualifying results and go over them before the sprint. Chandler in 11th, by the way, so that's not a bad showing on debut. Gecko on provisional, well, not provisional pole, but sprint pole, excuse me. Cookie a provisional P2, but that'll drop down to 7th when the lineup begins. TB will be on the front row because of that. Penguin 3rd, Reese 4th, Redfire 5th, Andy will be 6th, and then Cookie will slide in after grid penalty. Go Lee, best of the rest. How about that? Night Owl in there, currently 4th in the championship, looking to gain some points. Josh running out that top 10, and then you have the remainder of the lineup after that. So give us your prediction for the sprint. What do you think is going to occur? Chat, we would love to know. It is the 10th sprint in RPL F1 history.
Oh, we just lost Reese.
Oh no, that is the host of the session. That's not going to be good. I wonder if this lobby's going to stay. I hope it will stay.
Oh my God, I know I should have Reese.
I have Reese.
There
I
he
just
is.
invited him before
Me
you did.
too.
Perfect. So that's good. He has 2 to rely on.
Yeah,
I don't really know when we're going to get to start because that usually I'm relying off his stream to watch. Boy. Well, regardless, it is a 12-lap sprint, Titan, and something I want to mention as well with Gecko being 6th place ahead of Cookie to start this event. You know, you definitely want to do what you can in terms of points, but how aggressive do you push if you're Gecko at that point? Because you know there's points to offer in the main race. This is a track Cookie's never won at either. So how does that kind of play in your mind if you're Gecko in terms of the history around the circuit? And even in the last sprint, Cookie didn't win that either. Gecko didn't win it either. And Britain as well, he spun from the lead in the final lap, I believe it was. That's what allowed Savage to win.
Yeah. This is going to be quite interesting. Both Mercedes not winning a sprint and not have a great history with this track. I think this is going to probably break for at least one of them, whether it be in the sprint or the main.
And Night Owl brings up a good point on Reese's stream. This is a good chance for a Ferrari win right now. This is a good track for them with current circumstances. So TB trying to get on the podium for another season in RPL. Also trying to break a winless streak as well. Might be a good chance to do so. Front row of the sprint. And just a correction of what you said, Mercedes, they have won a sprint this season, but it goes back to Imola, round 5. Gecko, Cookie has only won 1 sprint in his career, round 4 at Miami. So Gecko and Cookie have some history with sprints this season, but the last one in Silverstone definitely a change there. And this circuit specifically, they've shown good promise, Gecko and Cookie, but they just have not got the results. This is one of the 4 countries of the active circuits that we run at that Cookie's not won at. So it definitely begs the question, could tonight be the night he takes Zandvoort off that list? Time to find out in the sprint if we can at least have Cookie make his way through the field and maybe take the fight to Gecko. Definitely going to change the championship buffer, no doubt about it, when we get to the main race with Cookie having that grid penalty, but there's a big race to play for regardless. And I was just going to speak about, before we get lights out, dry to wet races and qualifyings we've had. We had Season 6 with that occur, Season 7 here with a wet quali. We had a dry to wet race in Season 7. Reese is trying to join back and get in before the lights out. Season 10 we had a wet to dry quali. So it's not uncommon to see wet weather like we might see in the race around here. At least at the circuit.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, with Reese joining back, that means his strategy is going to be screwed up because he is going to be stuck on whatever tire he'll be starting on, as well as whatever fuel is to start, which normally it's like over 2.5 laps over. And unfortunately, Reese can't even take control of his car till about maybe 15, 20 seconds after lights out.
And speaking of lights out, here we go. It is 5 red lights in the sprint at Zandvoort. Sprint 10 in RPL's history. Here we go. It's lights out and away we go. Gecko trying to cover off TB, already moving over. TB then trying to compromise Penguin into turn 1. Red Fire's fighting for 3rd. Cookie trying to gain place. He gets Reese. Now he's trying to get Andy. Andy spins from contact. He saves it. Oh, and we have also Goat Lee around. He was making contact with Josh as well. So Goat Lee has a little bit of an incident there out of turn 2. And now we have 8th place. A big gaggle of cars behind Josh for position. Bobby Lyons has it. Optic wants it, but Bobby Lyons major damage on that front wing from contact. There was so much chaos going on. It allowed Chandler Say to lose places, and he's losing more, I believe, as well at the moment. Reese, though, down in 18th from that start. And look who's also in the fight for now 2nd place in this sprint. Red Fire Tiger wants to have a go. It's a major kerfuffle behind 14th right now. Chandler Seda is really falling down places. And Reese right now, I don't even think he's back in this session right now. So 21st place for Reese. Not characteristic at all, but definitely something he needs to figure out for the sake of his championship hopes.
Well, he got told late. He got told late that he can't take control until he gets back. So he left, but he left anyways because of it. Yeah, multiple cars got damaged from what we saw. Bobby with damage, Tornado with damage, Dom with damage. Lots of damage out there, and we've already seen multiple DNFs with Bobby, Tornado, and Dom all out of this session. And before that, yeah, and just before that, by the way, we saw a major
Andy again. You were saying?
Going through that little switchy S's there, it was a nice 3-wide fight between couple Alpines and a Racing Bulls. It was crazy to watch. Go to a video of it for our socials.
Look at the places gained from the first 2 laps right now on our screen. Torn Penguin lost some. Goldie lost some. Chandler Seda lost some. Reese, Andy, they both had incidents occur. Reese with losing connection and Andy with 2 spins there. Biggest winner, Lyral Fusion, 10th place on our boards. Danny B up 7. And numerous drivers up 3, but Cookie, importantly, up to 4th at the moment. So this is definitely going to make things interesting with where he's at the current stage of things. If he can get past Red Fire, not far away from Gecko and not far away from having that conversation. Cookie loses the car, and he's going to keep it straight, but he's going to lose a place in the process. That's a huge moment for Cookie.
Man,
my goodness,
man.
How did he keep that off the wall, Titan? I will never know.
Okay, so we'll have to get the results after the sprint race because the lobby is going to be restarted after the sprint race is over.
Regardless, Reese Dainty's going to take a massive blow. We know that for sure. Blue Gagi is now having a little fight with Goat Lee. Gagi wanted to try to switch back, but there was contact, and he was ghosted originally, but that is Gagi in the gravel. Maybe some lag having a part of that. You saw Gagi lose places as well. Teammate Chandler Sato, who lost place at the start, took advantage, and Cookie is going to try to regain this place for the time being. It is 4th place he's looking at. Gecko fastest lap. TB has a go to the inside. Side by side. TB with a little bit of a squeeze there on leader Gecko, but cannot get the place. Someone who did get the place, though, in the background was teammate Cookie. Cookie back to 4th, and Red Fire, who's losing time to TB, definitely is not going to have a chance for the win right now, but this is just for the sprint podium at this point, and I think that's where Cookie's going to look to get at the maximum here. He's not going to take too big of a blow in terms of the points, which is good, but I know he would love some more. And maybe he can if these two leaders do fight, Titan. It is a possibility.
Yeah, definitely loving seeing this great war here between Gecko and TB and Cookie against Storm Penguin. This is some great stuff here. And as you said just a little bit ago, TB with the fastest lap of the race. Ooh, Cookie's thought about sneaking a peek at Red Fire, but Red Fire had it scouted.
Yellow. It is Lazino and the Aston Martin. Damage to the end plate. And you were just talking about Red Fire and Cookie. Yeah, I mean, he definitely put Red Fire vulnerable. Here we go. It is down the main straight. Cookie having a go. And not past him yet at all. Red Fire still putting up a fight here. Red Fire hanging on for now. And he is still side by side into turn 2. Cookie's got it. Cookie's got the place. And Night Owl wanted to have a go on Penguin, but just overcooked it there, trying to get it low down. So 6th place remains to Night Owl. 5th place to Penguin. But Cookie up to 3rd. And now might have a chance to go hunt down our 2 leaders, which TB is just hounding the back of Gecko. He wants that lead right there for the sprint victory.
TB is just all over, just wanting to get some pressure on there because with them still fighting, that's going to bring Cookie even closer to it. TB is going to be like, okay, I need to get by this guy as soon as possible or I'm going to be in a little bit of trouble.
So I'm looking for Bobby Lyons' point of view. He sent in the Discord from the start. Just major contact from 6 on back, but it was the car alongside him he made contact with that got him that damage, but it was just a massive coordinate effect that got Goat Lee around. It's just unfortunate because Goat Lee, best of the rest, at this point is the sprint, he could have been maybe in 7th place right now, maybe at the back of the train where 3rd is. It is a possibility that what could have been for some points. Speaking of Goat Lee, he's going to go by Blonde on the main straight. Williams versus Cadillac. The Williams gets the place. And Blonde, he's had good races for Cadillac this season. A best of 5th for Cadillac in RPL F1 at Imola. And TB, again, this is the 2nd lap in a row. Titan, he's had a peek into the first corner, the 2nd sector on Gecko, but nothing coming of it.
Yeah, Gecko really showing that defensive strats here. He has these 2, both multi-time winners. TB, a prior champion. These 2 are very experienced. They know the racing. They know each other. They know their strengths, weaknesses. Anything is possible with these 2. Though these guys are just not going to give much of an inch in regards to their fighting for what will be the sprint win here.
And TB is going to boost. Is he going to find a way past Gecko this time? As we're about to reach halfway, TB's battery now below 30%. And right now, Gecko remains out in front. Cookie has broke away from Red Fire, but he's not caught up to these guys too much. Now he has. He needs to get himself within a second to at least have some chance to fight for the victory. And definitely make that battery situation a little better. He is going to at the moment. This part is going to get interesting. Here comes TB to the left side of Gecko. Gecko squeezes. TB dipped the wheel in the grass for the time being. The positions remain the same, but Cookie gained a 10th right there because of it. So it just makes things a little more interesting. Cookie clawing his way there. And you know this battle for 4th place is something that I'm sure these guys are all hoping to maybe gain a place or two from our leaders if they come together or something happens. You know, Red Fire would love to be back in the top 3 at Zandvoort, as you were saying earlier, Titan. That Alpine podium in Season 7 was a definitely interesting one. It was his 3rd all-time.
A thing of
He just got
beauty
his 5th
to say.
a few weeks ago. Yeah. TB.
Let's see. Here we go.
He wants to have a go at Gecko without Cookie interfering. He might be interfering this time. Here goes TB now on the main straight as we pass the start-finish straight. Left to right, a little bit of a dummy to the inside. Here's Gecko put vulnerable. TB inside line, trying to boost to get through. They're going to be side by side here. Is it going to work? TB are on the outside. Maybe going to try a switcheroo, but Cookie's there. PB are on the outside. Breezes by.
Yeah.
What a move. TB the lead.
Oh, chef's kiss moment for these two. Fantastic battle. I love it.
And the last thing that Gecko wanted to see is Cookie in his rearview mirror. Cookie is there. And just after that grid penalty, starting down in 7th, Gecko on sprint pole. The championship gap after this race, if it were to end right now, would be 3 points. Gecko could have taken more of a chunk out of that lead. But with this race, with the way it is, do you want to be the leader or do you want to be Gecko here? You just wonder, even with Gecko being in this spot, Cookie, who is clearly there to pounce, I don't think you really want to be in this position if you're Gecko with your teammate all over you. And speaking of that, here's Gecko. Maybe going to be all over TB, maybe the opposite. Here we go on the run to turn 1. It is TB still approaching turn 1 ahead.
Dice in regards to that, but Cookie even closer. Might be thinking maybe a switcheroo between the two, and just a tiny bit further back, just seeing it on our timing screen. Oh, Cookie had a slight evilness out of the bank corner, but on the timing screen, just saw Goat Lee just pass Fusion to get 10th place.
Remember, top 8 get points in the sprint, but again, Goat Lee, it's definitely what could have been with that last one incident, you know. He has been a rock star this season. In the past seasons he's been in RPL, he has had so much pace, but a lot of bad luck. No wins in Tier 3 and Tier 2, and that was the thing. A little snap again from Gecko. But with Goatley, it's nice to see that the races have gone his way more this season than in the past. So definitely Williams getting a lot of Constructors points based on that. Their academy teammates Merc, though, would love to get a sprint win here. 3 laps remaining this time. Gecko not really too much of in a better battery spot than TB, but Cookie, he saved just enough to maybe get close enough to Gecko in the braking zone. He does not get close enough to say anything about it. In the meantime, we're looking at 8th place down this main straight, though. This is a good fight as well. Goatley wants another spot because he still can snatch a point. Yeah. Around the outside of the Racing Bull, there's a little bit of touching, though. And remember, Optic does have damage, so it will definitely have an effect here on this fight.
Very much so. And I just took a look at the battery availability on the top 3. Both Mercedes have just about 20% less battery available to TB.
Seems like TB in the lead can definitely conserve a lot more battery. Instead of just like letting it let off at the end of the straight. Yeah, that's not really ideal.
Can I interject though? Oh, hello.
Yeah.
Goat Lee.
Yeah, in the background, it's going to be a switchback. Again from the Racing Bull. Goat Lee's going to have none of it. You were going to say, Titan?
I was just about to say if I was able to interject, but now we're down to 20 drivers because Lights or Litz or whatever it is, he has left the server.
Oh, TB a little wide on corner exit. It has allowed Gecko to kind of close it up, but again, nothing made of it. Dive bomb, maybe, no! Gecko locked the rears up, and that's going to cost him a chance to get to TB this lap. Now Cookie's all over him.
Oh, that was a hard stopper to watch right there. Seeing that rear just kick out on Gecko in that braking zone, I was like, oh, hold it together, dude. He did, but he lost a lot of time. That was terrifying to watch.
TB trying to win his 2nd sprint in RPL F1. Gecko trying to win his 3rd. Cookie trying to win his 2nd. So Gecko needing some points here in this championship fight, but he's just pushing TB along into the final couple of corners. We're about to reach the final lap. Cookie's car gets a little evil in him as well. So a lot of drivers here out of control, and they're definitely going to have to be careful on corner exit when putting the power down, because you got moments like that where Gecko had, and it allows Cookie to close right in. Cookie on the main street going to get him. Can he get to TB on this final lap? He is 4/10 back, and if he could get 2 in basically 1 lap, that would be incredible based on the fact that he was starting 7th from the grid penalty.
Goatley thinking about it on the inside, just couldn't find the right opportunity to attack Danny to get himself into that 8th position. That would be a nice single point if he could get it, but he's just scrambling to figure out where am I going to attack.
We have had some drag races to end races here in Zandvoort for the podium. No! Goatley is out! No! I was trying to get to it, but I was focused on the leaders. I was going to say we've had some drag races here in the past, 4 podium places. Florian Van Zelter involved in some of those. Will we have a drag race for the sprint victory? Right now, TB has got it, and Cookie wants it. TB has got all the battery charged up for this final lap. Cookie is squirrely, and he might not have a chance here on this main straight. Into the final couple of corners, TB has had a great defense here in Zandvoort for the sprint. He's looking for sprint win number 2, and he's got it in Zandvoort. Sprint win 2 of his RPL F1 career, ahead of Cookie, ahead of Gecko. Cookie now brings that championship gap down to 1 point into the race. Redfire 4th, Penguin 5th, Night Owl 6th, Josh and Danny B rounding out our top 8 for the points positions. But Goatley could have had that last point over Danny B, but a crash on the final lap. Titan, what happened?
Yeah. That was just
You were
crazy.
focusing on the Goatley battle. What happened to Goatley?
Oh,
I didn't get to see it.
He was coming out of the bank corner, heading to trying to figure out an attack on Danny, and I think maybe the right rear just got into that curbing, got a little greedy on the power, and he just lost it. But also, I did see Danny have a little kick out too, but I didn't see any contact.
Might have been trying to react to it and overreacted. Here are your sprint results. TB back in the P1 place in RPL. This time it's only a sprint. We have Cookie and Gecko 2nd and 3rd, and that is definitely going to be interesting for this title fight. 1 point the deficit between them into the race. We're going to get the full results from the sprint for Reese here, so he has it for the main race. Speaking of which, we'll get to qualifying for the main race really soon here. I think we're going to be restarting, as you said.
Yes.
Just give us time to talk about some past races here. Yeah, perfect. Awesome. Something I do want to note from that sprint, though, Titan, there were a lot of drivers just on ease, on edge, when it comes to their car and accelerating off the corners. Not only some of these curbs having a factor in that, but definitely some drivers getting antsy on their throttle pedal.
Indeed, but I will say this: I did get quite a lot of great racing action on there, so that some of these clips that I want to get in are going to be very phenomenal for the RPL socials. And I did check with Bobby and asked him, can I use your video that you have on your lap once? And he said, yeah, sure.
I did see that, yeah. He didn't mind. Something to note as well from that sprint as well, Gecko, who finished P3, does extend P3. Well, the race for P3, really, it's Reese trying to get to the lead there. It does go from 31 to 37 points. Reese Dainty not being a part of that sprint really does take a blow for his chances. He's going to have to make it up in the race, no doubt about it. We already knew he was going to anyway, but not even finishing in a sprint just does not help his case at all.
Mm-hmm.
Not even having a chance, more so, I should say, too.
Well, on a completely different note, did you have you create a team and participate in the fantasy thing?
I have not. I need to do so.
I just saw the results from for the race week 2, and I'm very happy.
Very neat. Very neat. I do want to kind of go back to some previous races here, if you don't mind. And one that comes to mind, race highlights you guys can watch on the YouTube channel if you'd like. Season 10. It was a wet to dry qualifying, and that race, I think, I could be wrong, maybe from penalty points or maybe just not showing up. I forget if it was penalty points or not showing up. Cookie was not in the Red Bull because that Gecko was, because he was racing for what was AlphaTauri at the time. That season, he did get his chance in the Red Bull. He got pole, but a midway safety car changed things in that race. He didn't really end up keeping what was the lead throughout the race, and it just allowed chaos to erupt. Under the safety car, TB and Reese collided. Reese, not paying attention, collision, ran in the back of TB. Later on, Minico having a chance for a podium, him and Gecko collide. There were numerous things in that race that were exciting. That ended up being Luke Range's, at the time, well, still could race, maybe get some podiums in the future, but as of the current moment, his final RPL podium 5 seasons ago at the circuit. Jack Miles got a podium for Alpine. Not the only Alpine podiums we know, as we were talking about this past few minutes with Red Fire, but yeah, all that happening behind TB, who won the race. Didn't win the race on track though, Titan, because home hero Korsman won on track, just lost it with a penalty to his name. So that race, I don't know what you remember from that 5 seasons ago, but that was definitely one of my favorite races to commentate a while ago. It was felt like it had a little bit of everything. It's just a fever dream watching some of these races back here, but that one especially. That one, not only Korsman at the time passing TB, and then obviously we know he lost in the storage room, but just things like that give you chills, because it was the third time originally being the charm for him, because season 8 was a podium, season 9 was a podium, and season 10 looked to be a podium with the victory, but it did not stay that way. It was just, it's races like that though you look back on and you're like, oh my gosh, that was awesome.
Absolutely. This track does have quite a lot of history and a lot of great memories and great fun. I will say this track is pretty much, I believe it's just one of my favorites for many multitudes of reasons. So definitely great love for this track as a whole, and everybody coming back in. This will be a lot of good times.
One of my favorite things from season 10 as well was that the season prior, Cam and Reese were battling for the victory, and Cam, he almost won the race in season 9 when Reese shoved his way through, got a penalty after, but Reese still kept the victory afterwards, because Cam, I believe, also got a penalty too, but Cam's was not as significant as Reese's, so the on-track gap was like 2.2 or 2.09, something like that, and then in the storage room it became like 0.09 for the margin of victory. But the season later in Zandvoort, in season 10, which we were just talking about, he was in Aston Martin, and Cam could have had his second podium, but a lot of contact in the final lap that took it away in the storage room, and just another race that could have been for Cam as well, looking back at it. But if you don't mind, I would love to hear you take us through season 7, that wet to dry qualifying session. Was it qualifying session, or? Well, it was a dry to wet race. It was a wet quali, and that day TB got pole, but he didn't win the race. His teammate Jacob did, and I wanted to hear you could take us through that one, Titan, because that one you were there that day for, and that was one of the classics with only Williams' second podium in RPL F1 coming at the hands of Jack Miles.
Oh yeah, that race was really wild, and it had everything that was there for the event, for that. Man, I can't really pull together the words for this.
No, I mean
But
you have Jack Miles on the podium for Williams. That's just insane in itself. So I mean, of course you're gonna lose your words with that.
yeah, absolutely.
Red Fire we mentioned earlier too.
Oh, this Jesus.
You know, for Alpine, that was a P2, and I think that I don't know how many P2 or P3s he had, but that was tying his best finish obviously. And someone else you also mentioned too, TB's teammate Jacob Adamczak with a made a win. I believe. You could correct me if I'm wrong. You would know better than I would with that one. Maybe you would. I believe that was his second start. That one, not his debut, but his second start.
Yeah, it was his second
And,
ever start for Jacob Adamczak. His first race was earlier in the season in France, but unfortunately he didn't finish. He DNF'd in that one. But for Zandvoort, which was his second start, it was dry quality for Q1 and Q2, but it was wet.
Q3, yeah.
It was wet
That's
Q3.
right.
And it was actually a Ferrari 1-2. TV was pole, as you said. Jacob was actually was second for that one, just on those 4 tenths behind. And Red Fire, the guy that was like hanging on for dear life, trying to go for a win, he qualified all the way down in P. He qualified in P5 in that one. And when you mentioned Jack getting the podium, he qualified in 10th in that Williams.
Yeah. Yeah, that day we had some crazy strategies for sure with the top three, and more so the different strategy with Red Fire and Jacob, though, for sure.
But we
day.
should. But I will mention two individuals that had some interesting interesting results from that Q3 session. In Red Bull, you had Luke, who qualified down in P7, with his teammate Cryptic being 4th. And you'll love this one. Philadenti in Alfa Romeo, P9.
Yeah, I mean, even looking back at his time period in Season 7 through Season 8, we know he had the podium in Canada for his first, Florian. But it was a really interesting time period for him because he would always sneak up there in the Alfa Romeo sometimes when he was racing for them, or the AlphaTauri. It was a very interesting time period for sure for some drivers, him being one of them. Because he was not in a top car at the time at all. And, yeah. Definitely a lot of races in Zandvoort to look back on and be like, whoa. Something else as well to mention about wet races. This season we've had some in qualifying, Austria and Hungary. And, a pole margin of 3 tenths or less separating the top two in both those, which is very interesting for a qualifying session, because I could just remember qualifying sessions back in Season 10 when we had wet races. When Cookie was in the Red Bull, it was absolutely mad, the gap. Belgium with 7, 8 tenths. What are we doing? That's crazy. Another race to mention here as well, I'm just going to hit on it a little bit, not too much, from that race was interesting besides the drag race to the line. Leo Lund back in Season 12. Winning that race. That was another one besides Season 7 where TB had pole. That was Season 12. TB had pole, his second Zandvoort pole, and all of his poles, I'm pretty sure it's like 7 or 8 of them total. 2 of them come here, so that's crazy to think. But Leo Lund, he had a qualifying ban from penalty points, and I was P19 to P1 for Red Bull, and that season he was in the V-Carb, now racing Bulls, and Red Bull at Zandvoort, so of course, make the most of that all you can, especially considering he was in Reese's spot where he was the guy behind the 2 teammates in the championship back then, and he tried to make up a deficit. Looked like after so many incidents, Zandvoort, he finally got out of that, but it didn't stay that way that long. It was just Zandvoort, though, where he ended up driving through the field P19 to P1, and it was a battle with Jack, TB, and Florian for 2nd through 4th. A really great drag race to end that race. And it's very interesting that you were just speaking of Florian too, because he was involved in 2 photo finishes here with Jack Miles coming to the line at this circuit. 2 seasons back to back.
Yeah, that season 7 Zandvoort, as we were talking about earlier. Um, yeah, they had the inters. It was inters early on in the race, and Jacob wanted to go into inters for when it switched from dry to the wet, and then he pitted for another set of inters later on and went the rest of the race on him. Red Fire chanced wets during a stretch of the event, then went to inters after that. He was over 10 seconds ahead, and that was with 6 laps to go when that happened, and he closed the
Yeah.
gap to about 3 seconds. He gained like 7 seconds in the span of 6 laps, and I'd say probably a couple laps later, he probably could have had an opportunity to win that race. It would have been very a good surreal moment for Red Fire if that wound up happening, but unfortunately it did not was the case. But yeah, it looks like we're back in it now with 22 only. No second Aston because Lights wound up leaving, and the second Audi of Devil, and that's because ABS is not on, and he can't race without ABS, with ABS being off.
Poor Blue Goggy.
Bit of a silly reason, honestly.
I get it. I get it. Poor Blue Goggy though, being by himself. Same with Bobby Lyons. Something sensational to mention about this circuit with some history. Reese Dainty, a season 9 win, but also won this race last season for McLaren, season 14, and F1 Shorts got a home podium. So not just TS Core being the only driver we're talking about in terms of home podiums here. F1 Shorts did it too. So
Yes.
yeah, Reese Dainty 2 wins here.
And you know one of the more interesting things is that when we were mentioning about season 7 and about the whole Jacob and Jack and all that stuff,
Yeah.
Reese finished 4th in that race, and the team, Aston Martin, he was in Aston that race.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, I remember P4 and P5 were a little bit wonky, but I didn't remember who. Josh 433, P4 for this race last season with Haas. Let's have another go at it. Turn 1, turn 2, riding those curbs, but a little bit upset on the entry at turn 2. That's not the way you want to go about it, but he's absolutely fine as we're going to get to the end of sector 1. Battery already below 45%. And 24-1 for that first sector. You can just see the car losing speed here as he goes through the next set of corners, just trying to consume some sort of battery at this point. Yellow flag, that's for a car starting a lap though. But either way, Josh will get to the end of the sector split. We'll see what the times are looking like. He's going to boost again, straight mode as well. And we get to the sector split with 49.1 being the total time accumulated. And he'll have plenty of battery to play with for the main straight. And bank corner we go to. One of the biggest ones besides turn 3. This one, so many accidents happened. We had a tier 3 accident that happened all the way to the left there before at the circuit, so not anything out of the ordinary there. But yeah, Josh, benchmark 10.4. This is a better benchmark than he had during the sprint.
The Tornado Kane went for a wild ride.
Yeah, he's just going to rejoin now. But Red Fire, fastest, 9.8. More benchmarks being put in. Let's go to Reese Dainty, who needs some points. Some switching there. And it's a 10.3, not the ideal time compared to Red Fire. We'll look at Gecko, who's going to come across the line very soon, Titan, and he's got a purple middle sector. We'll see how accurate that is, but every driver seems to be using some battery coming out of that chicane and trying to make something of it before this final corner, using it all.
Somebody leave. I just saw the little thing on the bottom pop up, but I didn't see.
Joined.
Oh, okay.
Joined. That's what it was. Fastest for Gecko, 9.6. Penguin splits the 2 McLarens. Cookie on an out lap. We'll be starting one soon. I'm going to let you take this one away. He's got battery to play with for his lap.
Hey, who are we on with? Cookie?
Cookie.
Ah, lovely Cookie. Let's see what he's got as he flies into turn number 1 here. Exit. Oh, evil tank slap out of turn 1. Now coming into turn 2 and 3 into the bank corner, turn 4. Solid entry there, and just flying out as quickly as he can. Overtake enabled, trying to get past some of the traffic through 5, 6, and 7 to the first sector split, and he is at. Why are you not showing up? I didn't even see the thing up there. Damn it.
Oh,
Sorry about that.
that's
Now he's up
okay.
into turn 9. Now, as this thing's just being a jerk. Now to turn 10 and getting into the second straight mode. Only 2 straight modes in this track here. Getting past the more traffic. 48.6 for the second sector split.
Yeah, something to see is that he's got 68 battery. Just turned on for a second. And that just saves him so much more battery from the main straight. And we're going to see how much of an advantage he'll have.
Oopsie.
Ending the lap. Overtake mode, straight mode, you got all of it going on for the start-finish line. 9.6, fastest over Gecko, but only by 22 milliseconds. And Andy also third as well. So Red Bull in the conversation, McLaren right up there, but Mercedes are 1-2, so everything remains the same. Can TB do something magical? He starts a lap. 2 poles to his name at the circuit. He wants to make it 3. A little bit of lifting and coasting going on in the turn 1, nothing major. But now we get to turn 2. We get to turn 3 now. A lot of interesting things happening right there to get the battery back up and then use it here down this straight. We're going to see where that compares to Cookie and Gecko's first sector. What do you got? 23.8. And Cookie's first sector was a 24.0. So TB really in the mix here around Zandvoort. This Ferrari really has a good shout. Don't ride those curves too much. You can easily spin. We've seen drivers do it here at the circuit in the past. Night Owl 5th for Ferrari. He completed his lap, but that is not really where TB is looking to be. TB with that first sector is really looking to be inside this top 2. 48.5. Is that good enough to be ahead in between Cookie Gecko? 55% battery, so a little 10% less compared to Cookie at that time prior when he did his lap. 1 bank corner to go. Start finish line approaching. Straight mode enabled. Across the line, TB provisionally third, but that top 3 is just separated by like a piece of paper. 26 milliseconds. That's the gap. TB's there.
Yeah, very good representable lap between for TB there. Despite only being third, that's very, very respectable to be that close to that field. And a minor oopsie if you're looking at the scoring boards here. AMS Knights has joined. Was going to be the replacement for Lights that who left the server. He accidentally picked the other A team.
There you go. So, Audi in here instead of Aston Martin.
I mean it's not. I mean it's not that bad. I mean there is 2 A teams, so you'd be like, okay, so you either get A team number number 1, which is representable, or you have A team number 2 that is comparable to a tractor on low power.
Well, we were watching Cookie. He extends his gap at the top of the board for qualifying. 2.5 tenths now ahead of Gecko. So Cookie just trying to put an exclamation point on this qualifying session right now, trying to get pole number 7 on the season. He has been a master of qualifying in season 15 and trying to add another pole to his name all time.
So a few minutes ago when I mentioned about Tornado Kane taking a wild ride, what happened was he went into the braking zone at turn 1 after finishing his lap, as Reese goes to second now with that 9.625, which, if I remember, that's about a millisecond behind what was Cookie's fastest lap. On hand but Torn Penguin, by the way, as he's just wrapping up his lap, was 8th, now moves up to 6th with a 9.8 on his part. But back to what I just said about what Tornado Kane was that when he went into the braking zone of turn number 1, his left rear wheel touched the grass, and that's what went him going for that wild ride. So I just went into the driver's chat, just said, you need to change of pants after that one. And he just goes, nah, I'm just garbage here.
Well, there you go.
We love the banter. We love the humor.
Well, just about, what, halfway through this qualifying session? Can't really see with the yellow flags. Red Fire, I think, backed off of that one there. Got cars queuing up in front of him in that little train. Yeah, less than 9 minutes remaining now, so we do have definitely a fight for pole occurring.
Wrong channel.
Definitely second through fourth. Yeah, second through fourth looking quite tight here. Gecko getting ready to start a flying lap here. In the final corner. Exiting the final corner. Here he goes. And you can just see the difference, though. He waited until after he was out of the bank corner to really start getting going. And that's because of the way the difference is with the battery, this DLC compared to the 25 version of things. Definitely a different way of doing things. You would just be in none and then turn its overtake toward the line. Now instead, you just do what Gecko did. And here we go. Is there an improvement there? He's going to cross the sector split. 67 thousandths of an improvement from Gecko's end. He does have some traffic, though, with the Racing Bulls. How does that affect him? Dirty Air reduced this game, so he's not going to take too much of a hit here. Racing Bulls offline. Oh, that definitely did affect him trying to come back on. Oh, yikes.
Which V-carb that was an optic or tornado, but didn't deter Gecko though. He's over a 10.5 up in the second sector.
2 more corners to go. This one, and now the next one. Not as much battery to spare as he would like, but will that make a difference as he crosses the line in a few seconds' time? Gecko, will he get back to the front row? Yes, he will. He's even closer to Cookie now. 500ths right there away from Cookie. Gecko looking to take pole 3 in the season. Wouldn't be his first in Zandvoort, but would be his first with Mercedes. Speaking of Mercedes, they won the first race here back in Season 3.
And long time ago, Season 3, and here we are, Season 15 now. God, I'm old.
Cookie on a lap now. Can he respond to Gecko in terms of a better time? He currently has the provisional pole, but he'd love to extend it like he did earlier. And right now, as he gets to the sector split, we're looking at 16 milliseconds up on the board. Riding the inside curb, a lot of lifting and coasting you can just see right here in terms of where he is gaining some battery. Car off. Car better not rejoin. That's the Alpine right there. That's either Leo Fusion or Maxwell. Couldn't tell which one. But now Cookie, battery being used.
The Max
Straight mode being used. Yes, it is. Cookie, not telling me the difference here. F1 Shorts gaining, or joining, sorry. Couldn't really see what Cookie was gaining, I should say. Yellow flag in the final corner, but no slipstream this time. Cookie going to be across the line soon. No battery left to spare. Will still gain some speed at the end because of that. Almost running on the battery. Look at that, though. An improvement to 9.2 now for Cookie. TB third on our boards as well. Still there. Reese fourth. Andy fifth. 4.5 minutes remain. Chat, get your predictions in. What would we expect to see in terms of the top 3? Will Cookie stay there? Will Gecko improve? Will TB keep P3?
I am on board. I am on with Gecko right now, and he was 61 thousandths up in the first sector, but he lost it in the second sector. He is behind by half a tenth in that second sector, so he must have had a mistake somewhere in those corners. That's what caused a little bit of a hiccup there, and Gecko forced him to abandon the lap.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's abort that one. Like a very quiet track. With that being said, Andy, though, I think he's the only one making some noise out here. He made some noise in the sprint, but yeah, he's going back to the pit lane too. So another driver boarding a lap. Darn. I want to give some attention to Chandler Seda, by the way, for Williams. You know, last week it was Skither who put this car into Q3 on his RPL return. Didn't even touch his DLC till then, and he did a really good job in qualifying. And Chandler Seda, he's here on his debut, racing with the likes of Minico, Cookie, some good names here in RPL. Add B-Dunk to that list. B-Dunk, in his only start quite a few seasons ago, was in contention for the victory at Silverstone, finished on the podium, but cost himself on that final lap with Cookie. That cost him the victory, but still a podium on debut, and his only start in RPL as well. All those drivers in RPL made Xbox Esports when that was a thing. Xbox Challengers, it was called. Chandler Seda. Back in the day, F122, F1 2021. He was up there. Not as much practice as he would have liked, I think he said, when coming into this race, but a debut race for him. And right now, he's got a car ahead of him as we get to the sector split. 1/10 of an improvement. This is to crack the top 10. Can he crack it? We'll find out. I don't know if F1 Short's meant to get in the car, though, Titan, but he is tired.
He's here.
Chandler Seda. Yeah, he's here, though. I don't know if he meant to get in a car, like I said, though. Chandler Seda sending it there into the entrance of the last corner of Sector 2. Gets to the split, 2/10 up. So this could potentially be ahead of teammate Goatley now. That's not far to fetch. Maybe Night Owl for 8th. A few more corners remain.
I'm on it with Dom.
Here we go. Chandler, no battery, but gaining speed because of that across the line. 2/10 of an improvement. 9th place is where the improvement lies. Head of teammate Goatley, but he gets his final flying lap out of the way. Unless he's just added more fuel to maybe go for another one here. But our contenders for pole are about to get their final flying runs underway. TB trying to get out of the way. Gecko getting to the final sector here soon. And Cookie behind TV. Look at the queue of cars here in this middle sector. Whoa! That was almost a collision with TV trying to come back up there. As well as Night Owl. That was a very, very close near miss with the Ferraris and Cookie. That could have been session ending. My goodness.
I just missed it because I just sent my invite to Dom.
Yeah, we're lucky there was not contact there, but we're about to get some final flying runs underway. Get your predictions in. With that being said, chat, we'd love to hear it. Keko, turn 3 approaching now. I don't know if he's back into this one with the battery he has, but if he's not, he's definitely got a lot to play with. He does have a lot to play with. I think he's backed off of this one with the battery not depleting itself the way he would have wanted. Unless he's just saving, yeah, he's definitely backed out of this, so we're switching to TB. The queue of cars on the main straight to start their final flying runs is mad. TB. A lot of battery to spare coming out of the bank corner. He's going to use it all. And can he take second place away from Gecko? If Gecko can't get another lap in here, or if he messes up this next one he's about to go for, this could definitely have a factor in the way things go for the grid. Redfire improved to 6th there while we were talking about that. But TB for the lap is not finding time in the first sector, so he's going to have to find elsewhere. Cookie finding 27 milliseconds in that first sector, trying to extend pole. TB down a 10th in that first sector, up now in that second, so he could be taking a front row away from Gecko. And interestingly enough, a car in front, he wouldn't love that, but you know, slipstream this game to get increased, dirty air reduced. He's going to love the sight of this to try to keep that front row over Gecko. He'd currently be taking checkered flag across the line as TB. He stays there though. Gecko in the first sector is gaining a lot of time, 2/10. He's going to save the best for last, but this might be a little deteriorating. No battery to spare. Cookie invalidates. So that could make a huge difference. Gecko better have saved his battery for this straight and the final sector to have a good shot at Cookie. A slide, a spin. That's his chance for pole gone. Reese ties his time that he did. It's up to Andy, but he's backed off. That looks to be it for the contenders. We'll switch to Danny B. He's into the pit lane. It's Cookie on pole for a 7th time this season. Cookie also gives Mercedes their 9th pole on the season. All time for Cookie. This is pole number 44. And it's a qualifying session, just like number 44, Lewis Hamilton. A step above the rest.
That was just crazy. I mean, Cookie had that validation at the penultimate corner, and Gecko with that spin out, that was just crazy. But look just a little bit further down on the list. Look at Goat Lee, 8th place with that Williams. Just
had a Night
ahead of
Owl.
Night Owl.
Who's fourth in the
very
championship
incredible.
standings? Yeah. It's a Cookie Gecko front row. Cookie had a Gecko. Like, it's been a lot of qualifying sessions this season. TB in third. He is right in the fight. RPL Surge, also known as Restainte, P4. Andy on debut, P5. Red, P6. Torn Penguin, P7. Goat Lee, as you said, P8. Had a Night Owl in the Ferrari. And Chandler makes it a double Williams top 10. Knights running out the grid in P20. P21, I think. Sorry. Gecko's lap Titan, you definitely got to wonder, although it was so much of an improvement in the first sector, did he use so much battery to do so that it could have affected him in the second half of the lap? You gotta wonder that for sure.
And one thing I do want to bring up very quickly, just before these guys start off their final laps, that big queue of cars that was just before that penultimate corner, one person I think is probably not going to be very happy is Optic, because Optic was on a flying lap and he wanted going into the gravel and the wall, avoiding that huge line of cars.
Yeah.
So Optic's
see on our screen
potential
tires,
final lap would have been affected because of that lap. So, I mean, is that possible? That could see the stewards later on if Optic feels like turning him in. I just don't know. But that big line for the incoming car, that was just a bit of a recipe of disaster. And then you mentioned a little bit ago there was that problem between TB and the Ferraris and the Mercedes.
Yeah, a very big miss, and it definitely changed the way they began their laps, not their laps itself, though, thankfully. We're looking at a lot of the top drivers starting on mediums, but it's only Redfire who's kind of switched things up with hards. I don't know the strategy around here, Titan, but I gotta think right now we're looking at a potential two-stop for the race.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. I would not doubt it.
And because of the restart, we're looking at a dry race, but we're looking at it being cloudy.
There's no rain?
Could have been. No. But what's interesting is on the original one, it did say on the top, cloudy and overcast, but the patches it showed were wet. So, the game usually goes off of what the top was. And now we're looking at a countdown. Titan, 20 seconds. Any final thoughts here? Chat, any final thoughts, guys?
I got nothing. I'm excited for the race to kick off.
After the sprint, 1 point the difference between Cookie and Gecko. Gecko, the championship leader. Cookie, the chaser. Cookie on pole, looking to try to take a first Zandvoort win. He's never won here before. Could it be the day? 5 red lights upon us here in Zandvoort. It is lights out and away we go. Cookie ahead of Gecko. Now Gecko vulnerable for P2. TB on the outside trying to take it. Cars finally in contact there with the Haas in the background. That's Danny B, but Gecko trying to hold P2. Can't do so now. TB, the long way around, has got the place. Gecko on the outside on the banking. He's going to try to get back second place. He can't regain it. Now it's Reese in fourth, Redfire in fifth. They've got that covered off, but further back, it's Danny B and Josh, the two Haas teammates, swapping that around. And you can see Maxwell, a winner here in the past from pole in Season 5, trying to get teammate Little Fusion, Blonde and Shorts, battling behind. Not much happening behind Cookie, who's kept the lead.
Yeah, very, very strong run from Cookie there as some cars are switching up towards the back. Yeah.
With Josh and Bobby Lyons. Optic trying to go for a move. Lots happening in this midfield. It's mad.
There's that middle and backfield as Bobby just chop blocks on Josh, getting by on that 13th spot. Solid run there. And as we get into the first lap completed, it is a tight shift between a lot of these guys. Wonder if there's going to be some switches coming up in here as
More Penguin dive bomb, little lunge.
Yes.
He's got it. He's got that. And he's had some massive pace here And a spin further back, it's Optic. You were talking about him earlier at the end of qualifying, not going to be happy. He will not be happy with this. He's around.
Thankfully, no damage to that car, though, so he is okay and going to keep it rolling.
Looking at the positions gained and positions lost, you got, oh, Andy and Night Owl swap, by the way. Andy and Night Owl back at it again. Andy to the inside. He lost some place on the opening lap. He'd love to gain him back. He tried to gain one of them back there. But it's just a lot of drivers in that top 10. One place lost, one place gained. But the guys further back who were the big winners were Danny B and Bobby Lyons, 3 up. And F1 Shorts up 4 for the Aston Martin team. Not bad here.
Indeed.
A lot of drivers electing to go with the mediums to start. Redfire thought about the hards early. Gecko clipped the curb, and he's in the wall. Trouble for the championship leader.
Ooh.
He's got massive damage, and he's out. The championship leader makes a mistake, and he's done for the day.
Retires on track too.
Days. Gecko out and done with in Zandvoort. I cannot believe it. One mistake, clipped the barrier, stuck to the curb because of it. No front wing, and he chose to give up practically. I mean, he was going to be affected and out of the points for the time being, but I don't think this was day-ending at all. I mean, you have a chance to regain into the points with a safety car. I don't understand.
Ooh.
That's going to be a huge penalty, too, for returning on track. No doubt about that.
I'm baffled. I don't have the words for that, but that completely blows the championship wide open.
Well, you know, and I love to see Gecko in this fight. He's really contending for his first RPL championship, but you're not going to have the championship mentality retiring on track like that either. You're not going to win yourself anything with that. It sucks. It really does, but got to keep it in the long game. Someone who is Andy, who got overtaken on the opening laps, and he'd love to gain places back. Again, he's trying to. Got Penguin there. Night Owl would love to get it back, too. Bobby Lyons, last point spot available for Audi. We've not talked a lot about them. He's got the place, and he got a podium recently for the first time a few weeks back. But I cannot believe what I've just seen with Gecko. You know, just a huge mistake being stuck on that curb. That curb, I told you, Titan, we've seen collisions on that curb, or even side by side in that corner in past Tier 3. I noted as well, being one of those races that we had that happen. Mm-hmm. And again, this time it affects Gecko. He's out of the race. I cannot believe it.
It's just total heartbreak on Gecko's part. That is really going to haunt him really badly there.
Yeah, there are races where the video game, you do lose sleep over, and this might be one of them. TB, 6/10 away from getting the Cookie. Trying to use some battery. Cookie doesn't have much battery in play either. And the top two remain the same. But someone who will be loving what just happened, secretly, is Reece Dainton. Mm-hmm. Previous winner here, 2 times. Last season for McLaren. Season 9 for Red Bull. Good history on here. Could take a good chunk away from Gecko. And, you know, he's known for missing races here and there. If that happens again, he's done it twice this season. Reece always loves to make races. He could... Maxwell and Blonde. And Maxwell losing the rear again. I was going to say, Reece would love to take a good chunk out of that lead. If Cookie misses races, it could happen again. And he could get himself in this fight. But, yeah, right now, you're looking at the back of the field. Losing their minds.
I believe that was Dom that Maxwell was battling with. And they were heading into turn number 2 and 3. And they just, a little bit of contact between the two. And both went off into the gravel. That was just really chaotic to watch. But I don't see... Oh, no, there is some damage on Dom's car.
Zero Fusion that just couldn't pay out. Tried to go to the inside of Josh, but more so went to the side of him in the process. This midfield, it's tough to keep track of them because you want to look at the leaders, but then you want to look at them because they are also in this fight. Points up for grabs. Blue Gagi further back. Oof, that was Optic trying to get to the pit lane, but Blonde went by.
Tornado Kane, actually.
Yeah, thank you.
that was very wild to watch.
Optic goes by Blonde, speaking of Optic. But Blonde wants to do a little switcheroo. Can't make anything from that with the Cadillac. But I was going to say, Bugatti got the place. And it all happened behind him. These leaders, they're staying content. These midfield drivers, not so much.
Yeah, very much so.
Wow.
So, and yeah, just seeing a little bit of lag on Blugagi's car at this present moment, but
I
what
saw
can you really
a little
do
bit in the
there?
sprint, but nothing major. Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing major in the sprint.
Yeah,
Yellow
let's-
flag, that is Tornado Kane again. This time out of the pit lane.
He's not having a good time.
No, he's not, and it's unfortunate.
Movement towards the front.
We have got Red Fire and Reese wheel to wheel into turn one. Yellow flag further back with Kane again.
I thought maybe the McLarens were going to be switching the positions, have Red Fire go ahead of Reese, and see if he could try to chase down the Ferrari and the Mercedes. And I mean, Red Fire is staying close tabs on. Ooh, who's got trouble?
That was Bugatti. You talked about the lag. I thought Maxwell was going to turn him right around there. It's just a 5-car kerfuffle back here, Titan. They cannot get off of each other.
Yeah, what I saw was that Red Fire was pretty quick in that first sector up against with Reese, as Tornado Kane again has another problem. He's about to get lapped. Yeah, he's about to get lapped very shortly. I mean, if Red Fire is staying quick and all that stuff, maybe Reese will be like, I know I'm the lead guy, but let's see how my teammate can fare going into this.
Yeah, that's it for Tornado Kane. 10-second penalty in the pit lane. He gives up. Day done for him. Maxwell seems to just be fighting for his life back here in the midfield. It's just not going his way. We'll get back to that right now. Chandler was going to have to go with Bobby Lyons. We're watching the midfield because they are not done. Josh and Fusion are in. This is quite early, I have to think, but here is Bugatti trying to remain ahead of Knights. Can't keep it. Knights ahead. Dom would love to go ahead. He's going to try to do so too. Cadillac, Aston, two of the slowest cars going wheel to wheel. That's Knights off though, so they had to try to take evasive action there. And I think Goggy ran in the back of him from that. He's got end plate damage.
Yeah, bit of damage there for Goggy there, and I was just watching just a little bit ahead of those guys. Chandler was all over the back of Bobby, and Bobby tried to sneak a peek on Danny in turns 1 and 2, but just couldn't get it to materialize to make the attack stick and move himself up into 9th place.
So Tornado Kane says the reason for retiring, rear wing damage. It would make sense for a lot of the spins that he was having, but not the day he would have wanted to have. 2.3 seconds the gap between TB and Cookie. This is really getting interesting. Cookie, like I said, in a league of his own, but TB has chose to blink first. He's in, and we'll see if that has an effect on the race up front. You know, with Gecko's little retirement that he had, it brings up a fair point. You know, Gecko, outside of the points in Imola, you know, Belgium didn't have the day. He finished 7th. Cookie's lowest finish is 5th in Japan. Reese had a pretty bad day in Australia, 19th. But, you know, with 22 cars now racing in RPL, there's not many of our top drivers, as that's Maxwell around, by the way. Incident for him, right in front of Goat Lee. It brings up a fair point, Titan. Many of our top drivers who've won races or even won titles in RPL have not finished 21st or 22nd yet. Well, that's a first for Gecko, 22nd. A lot of these drivers who retired finished further back in these, you know, terrible places like 18th, 19th, 20th. But with having 22 drivers in tonight's event, you know, it's definitely a first from, I got to assume, an RPL race winner. So, yeah, at least of the RPL race winners, that's probably the worst finished of anybody. In Gecko retirement for him, just such an unfortunate day. It has to be said. It's not going to be forgotten about. That's for sure. Andy and Night Owl are in.
When TB made his stop earlier, he came out in the 12th position, and Andy and Night Owl do respond with that, as well as Bobby, Danny, and Shorts. They all respond to it. Ooh,
No!
Shorts into the penalty box with a 10-second
That is
speeding.
not good for the home driver. Not good for the home driver at all. Yikes. Maxwell as well.
Oh.
Like I said, won this race in Season 5 from pole. Night Owl was fighting with Knights, but I think he dipped the wheel in the grass. He caused the yellow flags right there. Luckily, he kept going, but that's not good for Night Owl.
Definitely not good at all there. And just looking at towards the front, Cookie is now over 5, just hitting the 5-second ahead mark on Reese at the moment, with Redfire still on his backside. As just seeing Night Owl passing Knights to get himself back into the points. Red's it.
Wow. So many drivers coming in early. Torn Penguin as well joining. So it definitely begs the question, will we be seeing a 2-stop? We have Chandler Seda also boxing. Oh, goodness. These guys are trying to really push the limits, almost speeding there. You saw TB moments ago get by Blonde. This is just how much slower the Cadillac is. Look how far he's behind. Not only the Cadillac, but just the tire difference. 1.7 seconds the gap right now with them. Where's Redfire going to blend out here? He is ahead of Night Owl, and Night Owl's ahead of Penguin. But despite Night Owl's little mishap, he seems to be okay. He's not really in this fight for third anymore.
I think if Night Owl didn't have that little mishap, I mean, he'd be a lot closer to Redfire and be a bit further ahead than Torn Penguin, as Maxwell yet again speeds.
That's the second time. Is this day over for Maxwell? Or did he just not get damage repaired? That's probably why he's pitting. Yeah, well, you got to serve the 10-second first, but I don't think the damage got repaired, so that might be why. Dom and Goat Lee swapped. Dom yet to pit. Speaking of someone who's yet to pit, who's finally in, it's Cookie. Same with Reese Dainty. Battery depleted. Cookie with a quick pit stop. Reese as well. Everyone for hards. This is surely not going to be comfortably to the end, but it should be good. Now, can TB jump Cookie? TB was fighting Cookie, but TB pitted 3 laps earlier. Is this going to be the difference? Here's Cookie coming out of the pit lane, side by side with TB, and ahead. Will TB go the long way around or try a switcheroo from the banking part? No. But Cookie under pressure for the lead right now.
TB really trying his absolute hardest to think of
Stop the count! Stop the count! A Cadillac's in the top 3! Blonde hangs on! Wow!
Hang on there.
Redfire with a lunge gets through on Blonde. And so did Andy. What fun
There
stuff
comes
is
Reese
this?
too.
Reese Dainty has his go. Blonde just getting eaten alive, but it was fun while it lasted, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, their best finish came in Imola in that shortened race, P5. I think it's safe to say Blonde with holding up Andy definitely did get Night Owl back in this fight a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the overtake being used from some drivers. Redfire, one of them chasing Andy. What kind of fun does Redfire have up his sleeve? On the outside! And up into 3rd place, comfortably ahead. Penguin now fighting Night Owl. Night Owl through. Now we're looking with Academy teammate Blonde ahead. Will there be some games played when Night Owl gets through? Will he just be a nuisance to Penguin in this middle sector approaching? Blonde is not giving this one up. But he does definitely compromise Penguin's line right there. Night Owl, Penguin both through and ahead.
And Night Owl and Penguin getting past the blonde man, and Torn Penguin wanting to go even further. He is all over the back of Night Owl, trying to put some major pressure on him to go for that 6th place spot. Meanwhile, his teammate Andy has some issues. He's got Reese all over his back end.
Danny and Dom swap. Dom, yeah, to pit. Dom getting swarmed up. He's down to 13. So both Cadillacs staying out, but they're on hards, though. So that's why they've elected that route. Here is Reese Dainty trying to surge past Andy. Is he going to go to the inside? He is. A huge send. And he goes through. Reese into 4th in this race. It's a surge into 4th place.
Gorgeous attack by Reese into that turn one, late on the brakes, slingshots right in, and even maintains the inside line enough that Andy couldn't get a chance for a switchback. Excellent attack by Reese there, and now both Reese and Red Fire are now turned loose, and they're gonna try to hunt down the Ferrari and of TB and Cookie ahead.
I believe that was just both drivers, Blonde and Dom, who pitted, who got 10 seconds simultaneously. Literal Fusion clipped the grass, and he's off. But he keeps it going straight. No damage, no 180, just a little slip and slide for Literal Fusion. I was going to say he was having a great scrap with Chandler Seda. They're going wheel to wheel for numerous corners straight, but yeah, that battle's over now because of that.
Quite unfortunate there. That was still out of points, but around the 12th place spot. And Chandler is coming up on the back end of Nice in the Audi. Nice was supposed to be an Aston, but he accidentally got put into the Audi by mistake as Nice is pitting.
Speed. Oh no! Another speeding penalty.
I mean,
no one can get it down for this pit lane.
I mean, Zandvoort is one of the only tracks where the speed limit is 37 miles an hour or 50 kilometers an hour. That is very critical there. I mean, the only other track that has it is Monaco. Then again, up until, like, what was it, 23 or whatever the hell it was? Australia was that too.
I don't know if you see it on your screen, but it's on mine. Josh433 making the most of a 2014 front wing, it looks like, on my screen. We'll have a little laugh about that later. But he is in the fight for 11th now after Chandler had his little moment.
Absolutely. I'm on board with Torn Penguin as he's trying to chase Night Owl down for the 6th place spot. This could be an interesting little fight there. Up the tail end is, but Night Owl has that Ferrari speed tax. Is this going to work here?
Oh!
Can't get it to work.
Nearly a little dummy there, I think, caught Penguin off guard. But it's Reese as well in the process, in 3rd now in this race. So Reese is trying to have a go at things and get further up on the order. We have Optic, who's also now further up in the order with going past Chandler Seda. Nice little overtake there.
Chandler's still on the back trying to chase down Optic, and they're going to have to do a little bit of work so they can try to reel in Bobby, who's sitting in a 10th place spot. Bobby, by the way, is all over the back of Danny. This isn't the first time. These two were battling it out in the sprint earlier, and they're back at it again. These two just can't keep their paths from crossing into each other.
Yeah. Everyone on hard tires in this race at the moment. Goggy back into the pit lane, but Maxwell, who served a 10-second already, is with another one after that. So we have 6 total speeding penalties from this race so far. We're only 17 laps in. It's just crazy to me how many drivers could not get it woed down into that pit lane.
and speaking about with Goggy and Maxwell, they are now lapped.
They're now lapped, but they're also in a fight with themselves for 19th to not be last as well. Red Fire, who is racing Reese, wants to have a go at things. This is up for a podium in this race. Almost halfway in this race, by the way. Right now, 1 stop the way to go, but still, we could see a 2-stop happen. It is possible.
Reese
You're gonna have medium tires be used at that point.
Yeah, Reese did say a 1-stop is doable, but it's like extremely difficult. He shared in the commentary chat on his tire wear, and after 8 laps of pushing, I think it was his mediums, his left front was already over 40% after 8 laps.
So you mentioned with Maxwell and Goggy battling, actually did not get Reese some straight mode there because of the battling. I'm surprised that didn't happen, but yeah, Goggy overtakes Maxwell for 19th place on the track.
Yeah, I'm seeing it on the screen here because I'm on the race and just seeing those two.
it pains me to say, and Gaggy's gonna hate me for saying it, I just have flashbacks to him and Zakaria right now. I mean, I know there's not a lot of wheel banging contact, but the fact that they're both being lapped right now gives me a lot of flashbacks to those days in Tier 2, but Reese goes through them. And we'll go through Gaggy in a moment, but yeah. Someone who will be having definitely a... yeah, well, someone who will be having a pain to the end of this race, though, on the tires... Oh, a little king from Reese. But someone who will be having a pain to the end of this race on the tires is TB. You mentioned that one stop and the way to go about things. He's 9 laps already done on those hards. Going to make it 10 this time. And that's 3 more laps than Cookie and Reese, and 2 more than Red Fire. So something to take into consideration when not only fighting for this podium, but maybe a victory if, you know, things do tend to be different. Or if we get a late safety car. We got one last week on lap 26 when Alex Norris went out of the race. And overtake and re-overtake again for 19th place.
Oh, Chandler's crashed!
And there you go. I was just speaking about the chance of a safety car. We've got it there. Chandler on debut, out, retired, the same place Gecko did. And that is a safety car intervention for this race.
Wow, wow,
They're
wow.
hate me. They're going to hate me. They're going to think I'm the reason for the safety car with the jinx at this point. But you know what? Not the first time that's happened past halfway, right? We had it happen last week. Dom drive-through.
Jesus Christ, dude.
More woes to his day. Man. Him and Dom.
This just pretty much resets the whole field with the safety car.
But I will
everybody
say
will be coming in for another stop.
Yeah. It does guarantee a 2-stop for the most part, as we were saying.
Yeah, but the question is, once the race gets back underway, and these guys... Could these guys go 16, 17-ish laps on their second set of hard tires?
Hards, probably. Mediums, no.
You know, that's obvious.
Remember, I mean, after the safety car is over, it will be a 13, 14 lap shootout. So it is more like 14 laps. But Cookie's on mediums.
Oh, yeah, it says 36 in the top left. I'm dumb. I thought it said 38 for some reason.
But the interesting thing about this, though, is TB is on hards. Andy's on hards. Reese and Cookie elected to pit for mediums here. So definitely a shake-up in the way things are.
Interesting strat.
Yeah. Swaps on Knight's car, by the way, for Audi. Dom, another drive-through. That's the second one.
Oh, Lord.
I will say that safety car did help TB and a third one.
How is he hitting all these?
Do you remember when Pastor Maldonado in the, 2014 or 15 Hungarian Grand Prix got like 4 penalties in one race? I don't know what Dom's doing to get these drive-throughs, but that's 3 in the span of the last 90 seconds. Just saying. Just saying.
How's he not been DQ'd for that?
Maybe he's trying to get DQ'd because this race is just a pain enough in the Cadillac, I bet, for him. Yeah.
Oh,
Someone who will have a good chance for points with this being said. I don't know how those mediums will last, but F1 Shorts right now from the back to maybe the top 10. Aston looking for their first points of the season and of the DLC. Yeah, I was just going to say this Titan earlier on. This safety car helps TB. You know, he was looking at a disadvantage with the way those tires were, and he was losing time to Cookie, maybe even losing time to Reese. That second place was maybe under threat. Right now, he's on hards, looking to go the long game, and you were saying you wonder how many laps these guys are going to make it to the end. Not on hards, but you're looking at mediums here from the first and third place runners for a, 14, 15, 13 lap shootout to the end?
Yeah. And I hate to be the bad news to Dom and Knights, but this safety car also, in a way, kind of helped Bugatti because Bugatti is back on the lead lap now.
That's crazy. You know who's not? Maxwell.
Yeah, he's behind Goldway, I believe.
Had to serve a 10-second as well, so that really screwed his chances of things.
Kicking the ass he's got.
Chandler said the reason for him doing that. He said, "Do not leave boost on when exiting the curb." Yep, that will do it. Maybe it might have been what Gecko did earlier. I hope not, though. I will say we have had some races here at Zandvoort with some lack of retirements. 19 finished of the 19 who started in season 12, and we also had the season 9. 18 of the 19 finished. Well, today we've had 3 retirements thus far. Goggy's in, and he can afford to do that because he got himself back on the same lap as the leaders. New mediums going on? No, just different mediums going on? Used mediums going on? I don't know. I don't question these things.
I just have to look at the race director under the incidents. In regards to like people like warnings, penalties, all that sort of fun stuff, literally 4 teams have yet to even get anything. Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, and McLaren. Everybody else has at least something.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what the warning situation on track limits looks like for Cookie, TB, and Reese.
And the worst part is, I think I gotta look at it again, but I believe Cadillac's got the most of anything in the director right now.
I wonder why. AERT damn. No track limit warnings from the top 3 drivers.
Nice.
Okay. Tom's trying to have a go at 900 safety car. Interesting that was. Way to make the action fun. Well, guys, I think we had 13 viewers at one point in the stream. Right now, only 5. Let us know what you think so far. 19 remain. 22 who started. If you're just catching up with the action, HSR Gecko clipped the curb in the opening laps of the race, went straight on into the barrier on the left side at the final corner. No front wing, chose to retire. He made his own decision on track, and that might be a penalty coming his way from that. So, championship implications for the championship leader, but the championship contender and provisional championship leader Cookie taking it back away. Titan, lead us to it.
Yeah, so Cookie in control of it, waiting to see when how TB will respond to it, as Cookie is on the bank corner for the final corner. Waiting late, and he's off.
That's definitely got a queue of things behind that. Really formed up side by side with 9th now, but we have Red Fire hounding the back of Andy around the outside here for 4th. A huge send right there. Is it going to pay off? He's side by side. It's a lot of pinching. Red Fire in the grass. He had a big moment, and he's off. Red Fire. My goodness. Comes back on side by side with Lyral Fusion, and they're 3 wide behind him. Red Fire loses it. 3 wide again. Red Fire cannot contain his car after his little moment when he tried to go on Andy and couldn't make anything of it. 3 wide crash! That is Knights, Goggy, Red, or sorry, Shorts and Red, excuse me. No, it was, yeah, was Shorts and Red. My goodness.
Holy cow.
Bobby Lyons is now falling down the order as well. It has been a chaotic restart, but Night Owl now wants to have a go at things for 5th place in this race. That's Vaxeloff. But yeah, Red Fire trying to go around the outside of Andy, just did not have anything going for him right there on that compromised line. He got a little bit of a squeeze, had a little bit of a tank slapper, went in the side of Andy, tried to not get forced off track, and he lost it all after that. 1.8 seconds after a lap of the restart from Cookie, that lead is.
So that during that restart, was Knights, Goggy, and Red Fire, and they're going into turn 6. I mean, literally, it was still 3 wide, but Red Fire was at the back foot of that 3 wide. I would say that's definitely on him, because I think he should have backed out, because both Knights and Goggy pincered in, and that resulted in that chaos there. I'm just gonna be straight up
The
honest.
3 wide was not the smartest move.
Yeah, I think Red Fire should have done the smart thing and backed off, and then try again a little bit later on the track.
It did seem like a desperate move. Yeah, it did seem like a desperate move to try to regain places, but he was already fuming from the incident with Andy, and I think the incident with Andy might be on Andy. I mean, Red Fire is trying to shoot him up the outside, but Andy does kind of have to give him the space there. He didn't give him much to play with. He gave him some, but he kind of pushed him in the gravel. And we have Lyral Fusion and Bobby Lyons fighting for 11th place. A nice little battle brewing there. We have Reese, who was just getting on TB. He didn't make anything of it right there, but I think TB has saved enough just to stay ahead in that final corner for the time being. Surprised Reese has not got ahead of TB with those medium tires. We'll see if those mediums die out. But Dom is in from the drive-thrus.
Our favorite glitch is back again.
Which one's that?
I'll just say this: go to Josh, and you'll see why.
Oh no, I saw. I was mentioning that earlier. It was the 2014 front wing.
This is funny.
Yeah. It's interesting though with Cookie and Reese on the medium tires. You know how this will play out if those tires do die off. You know, Cookie chose the soft tires last week, and it just didn't pay off for him. Knight's incident for him. That was the cause of yellow flags.
I'm just looking at it. Reese is just all over
him
the
and
back
Dom are
end.
bashing back and forth. That's Knight's off.
Good lord.
A little incident between the two guys there in the back.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, you know, he didn't choose the right strategy last week with the softs, and it died out for him in the end, and you saw what that had going for him. We'll see if it changes this week. Reese is changing for him, though. Second place. It's his now.
Yeah, Reese putting in that pressure on TB there, and yeah, as you said, with Dom and Knights there, and let's see what's going on here with these two, because Dom had a bit of a moment in that third to last corner. But Dom still had just served one drive-through penalty. Now he's got two more. What in the world? Dom just brake-checked Knights.
Okay. Taking lifting and coasting to a different extent. Knights shoves him off.
Oh, this is not looking too fun.
No, it is not at all. It's just not what you should be doing.
Nope.
But soft tires for Knights, mediums for Dom. We're going to switch back to the race for second place because with Reese clearing TB, he could have a go at Cookie, but the problem is, though, they're both on the same tires. We're going to see if Cookie and Reese do have a fall-off on their tires, because if they do, TB will be invited right to the fun. And I was just going to say, like last week, you know, Cookie, who chose the softs, it just was not the play, and he went from first to third after the restart, and it just cost him so much. I wonder if this is a different way of things, and if this strategy does pay off. Bobby Lyons got Lyral Fusion for 11th. That's the last, the first spot outside of the points, excuse me. Not the last point spot. That's Josh.
Yeah, just about 15 seconds prior to that, Red Fire got past Blonde and got himself into 13th. So he's got a little work to do to try to regain into the positions that he has missed here as we get to see in this sort of sense. But Red Fire was getting close to Fusion, looking for possibly 12.
Dom, Knights, Goggy, they're all into the pit lane. They're going to get lapped if things continue the way it is right back there with their little buffle.
Yeah, Dom, I just saw on the track map, just served his second of 3 drive-through penalties.
Remember, he will be disqualified if he doesn't serve the third one. Yes, so here goes TB, gaining. Thought about a move, but thought better of it.
He was just all over putting that pressure in there. Meanwhile, Reese has it defended in. Meanwhile, his teammate, Red Fire, gets the attack done on Fusion before turn 1. Up to 12th he is now.
It's really just trying to regain lost places, lost ground right there. Here's second place at an unorthodox spot. TB gains back second place in this race.
That was a very
and another
solid
scrap
there.
behind it. It's the same corner. 8th place up for grabs. Danny B right there.
didn't even get a
Put
chance
Optic in a hot sandwich again.
I didn't even get a chance to switch off of all the stuff just to get the full broadcast thing. Get all the stuff on my screen. I didn't get a chance to with TB and Reese.
Yeah, it is getting interesting here. The battle for second place, we used to call this a DRS train. It's just a interesting train right now for second place. And Dom, 10 seconds speeding in the pit lane this time, trying to serve that drive-through that was. But yeah, at an unorthodox spot, you don't usually see overtakes done there. TB got it, and Danny B and Optic swapped it too for a moment. So yeah, we are watching behind that. Red Fire also trying to regain more lost ground. 11th place now becomes his. Maxwell 10 second, and he's done for the day. Game over.
That sucks for him, and I'm not saying anything till later on that one. Just seeing on the onboard of Red Fire's car as he passed Bobby to get himself into 11th. But yeah, very unfortunate for Maxwell to be out of the event. Not fun there. But yeah, Danny and Josh sitting in the 8th and 10th spots with Optic right behind in the 9th spot. This is some good stuff. Okay, random thought is this Optic's first race, or has he raced before in F1?
He has, but I don't think he's done many. I'm just going to double check.
Okay.
I'm going to double check. Yeah. Well, that's happening. Second place, though, is still up for grabs.
Just watching Reese here as he's trying to gain up on TB here, but TB, with that Ferrari speed tax of that car, just keeps that gap still decently good against Reese here for that to keep second place, while Cookie is still gone in the wind. And coming up next time when they cross the line, 6 to go, and Cookie is 4 seconds clear of TB.
Yeah, Optic didn't start racing for this season, but he raced last week in Hungary, so yeah, no debut there, but yes. Red Fire, Optic, they want to gain places. Optic just following Danny B along right here. Trying to find something to get by, and Red Fire, it's unfortunate for him too, because he's high up in the championship. He'd love to make a move right there. I was going to say, with his performance right there, he'd love to get up in the championship and gain some more points on the guys in front of him. Keep 5th place, but you know what? Sometimes after an incident, you just need a little bit of motivation right there, and he got it with the move on Josh. You don't usually see that happening. That was awesome stuff.
That was wild stuff there by Red Fire, going for that shot in turn 8, no less, against Josh. That was very strong there. But now he's riding the tail of Optic and potentially Danny. Is he going to make a move yet? No, he's not close enough for a shot against either one of them. Josh thought about sneaking a peek in the apex of turn 1, but couldn't get anything to materialize.
Yeah, a lot of lifting and coasting going on at Red Fire, so you can definitely see how compromised he is when he's just trying to push and get along here.
I'll just say if Red Fire don't do anything crazy.
Dying off. Yeah, no medium's dying off right now for Cookie, but if it's going to happen, it could be very vital for this race. Clearly it ain't over till the checker. You're fine. I was gonna say clearly it ain't over till the checker flag we saw happen to Gecko early on. So don't want to have it happen to 2 Mercedes. Red Fire to the inside, a huge send. It's gonna pay off. Ahead of Optic, 9th place. What a move from the Frenchman.
That was very beautiful to watch right there.
May I just say, when Gagi went back to the pit lane there for soft tires, that was his 5th stop of the day. And I don't like watching this going between Knights and Dom. I'm just going to skip through it, but don't want to see a safety car happen from that. There's a lot of games being played there.
Almost a collision between Optic and Josh.
And Optic, wheel to wheel. In front of that, we have Red Fire and Danny wheel to wheel. 2 Haas's racing it out. Oh, contact! Josh off the road and back on. Man, oh man. And Danny lost 8th place in the meantime to Red Fire. So Red Fire, he's got something back from it. So not losing it all completely here from the day that he had. But yeah, Dom speeding in the pit lane. Shorts in the pit lane. That the yellow flags were for him and Knights. Both 10 seconds right there. So, what's interesting that was I was talking about the medium starting to fall off. TB's not gained a lot on Cookie, but who's gained a lot here? Andy on Reese. This podium place is up for grabs. It's not over yet for Red Bull to try to gain something back in this race. They had a great showing when the track was evolving. If you remember Titan and Sprint qualifying, right now they have a chance to get on the podium with both cars having a chance for this.
Definitely, this is going to get quite crazy here as we go on through this event here. This is going to get really good as cars coming out, more cars getting lapped. But Andy just hounding to try to go a podium split place against Reese. This would be very beautiful for Andy if he can get on debut here.
So if Cookie wins this race, after the way we had things, we're looking at him having, what, a 23, 24-point lead, something like that?
23,
Bless
I believe.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Penguin is going to get by Andy because Andy disconnects.
Oh, no.
On debut, a chance for a podium is gone. Penguin is going to try to get Surge. And Night Owl up to 5th now. I got to say, Cookie, he's having a chunk taken out of his lead. I don't know if it's going to be enough with 3 laps remaining this time, but that gap's down to 3.4. It was 3.7 moments ago. TB's got to keep clawing at this because if Cookie somehow gets a puncture, it's TB's victory to take. But even then, a podium on the season for TB would be his first today.
Definitely no doubt about that, but yeah, that's gotta suck,
collision
Andy.
pit lane, Dominant Knights. Come on, guys. Quit fooling around. Andy joins back in time to try to salvage maybe 6th, but just not what he wanted for what could have been.
Wow. So I just took a look at the lap markers, and on the past 2 laps, EB has gained 0.6 of a second. Because in the last lap, TB was 0.4 faster than Cookie was.
Yeah, not as much this lap, clearly. So, you just got to wonder, is it enough right here to do it? Danny B and Optic, clearly some shenanigans going on there. Danny B's holding on to 9th place, but I think Optic went off. So we'll see what happens there if there's anything said later on. Bobby Lyons wants 10th place, though, so that is up for grabs. Red Fire is right all over the back of Goat Lee, so he gained on Goat Lee in no time. That is 7th place up for grabs. Goat Lee has it. Red Fire wants it. Red Fire gaining, using that boost button as well. Yellow further back, but Red Fire sends it from a long way back. Goes into the side of Goat Lee. A little contact, a little touching, but he gets the place. It's 3.1 the gap now with Cookie and Red Fire. You can just see right now, those tires are degrading for Cookie. He just tipped the wheel in the grass. So clearly not a mistake-free race right now for Cookie. You got to mention as we reach this final lap, take a conservative, Cookie. You have so many points on offer to beat Red with right now. Or sorry, not Red with, Cookie, or sorry, Gecko with right now, excuse me. Yes. So many points if you're Cookie to gain on Gecko and extend your championship lead you're going to take on with him. So it's just take what you can. Don't overpush this. And he's never won in Zandvoort either, so it would be a great first win. But right now, 3rd place. We're watching Reese get put under pressure. Those mediums have died off worse for him than Cookie. Penguin. His name is looking at another RPL podium. He's had one before, trying to get a second one right now. The final lap of this race. Penguin is maybe going to go for it. He is.
He's trying.
Contact! Ooh. Reese keeps it.
He was just trying his absolute damnedest, but he just couldn't get it, the energy out of the exit turn 1 to make it happen.
Here he goes around the outside, side by side. Reese overtaken for 3rd place by Penguin.
Ow!
What a move! Night Owl is going to send it as well. As we reach this final sector, Gecko made a huge mistake. Gecko made a huge mistake, and it has allowed Cookie to regain that championship lead. And at a track he's never won at, what a great time to do it. Cookie wins in Zandvoort now for the first time and takes the championship lead with it. TB on the podium for a 10th different season, and Torn Penguin takes podium number 2. On that final lap, Reese went from 3rd to 6th.
Just out of turn 10, him and Night Owl came together, and Reese had substantial damage, and that resulted in there. So I think maybe Night Owl and Reese came together, and that allowed Andy to get that 5th place spot.
Yeah, after lagging out, he at least gets something back.
Yes.
Night Owl 4th as well. Penguin a 2nd podium. TB a podium in a 10th different season. But Cookie, with his 6th win on the season, regains that championship lead back. What a vital time to win your first
Oh, Reese dumped it by himself.
race at Zandvoort. Yeah, there you go. Wow. Wow. Cookie held on. 17 lap mediums. And fastest lap on the last lap from F1 Shorts. Something to be proud of for Aston Martin. Fastest lap of your home race as well. Nice showing there. Well, Cookie crosses Zandvoort off the list of tracks he's never won at. He's now won here. But Cookie went fighting, and he took a chunk out of Gecko in his lead and just decided to extend it. Champagne spraying on the top step, and the 2nd and 3rd place drivers have something to be proud of too. First podium in the season for Penguin. First podium in quite a few seasons for TB. This 10th season in a row. Cleanest driver TB, Blonde most overtakes. He did a lot of overtaking, didn't he? Optic driver of the day from the game. Shorts fastest lap. Cookie race winner. Goat lead, best of the rest in 8th. Danny B 9th, and Optic 10th for Racing Bulls. Nice. What a race.
What a race indeed.
This is TB's first podium, by the way, since season 12. Woo. Season 12, Mexico. Welcome back to the podium, TB. A huge drought broken for him. It's like a good 50, 60 or so races. It's insane to think that it's been that long since TB hadn't had a podium. He had many races. He was showing chances of getting one this season, like Monaco, Hungary. I mean, keep going, but that's just 2 of them. Imola as well.
I think it's 56. 56 races
That
since
is insane.
TB was on the podium last. That's so wild, yeah.
With this win for Cookie, all time it's win 46. Mercedes take win 74. And that's their 10th on the season. But definitely Cookie's most vital one in the season, for sure. A huge swing in the championship when Gecko clipped that curb, hit the barrier, and chose to retire. It gave Cookie just a chance to take it much, much more easier. But it wasn't that easy, clearly, Titan, because the strategy he chose was similar to last week. A little unorthodox, different to the others. Medium tires for him today to end the race compared to TB on the hards. TB was gaining, but $1 late and $1 short that was.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't believe it. Cookie's first win in Zandvoort. Cookie's 6th in the season. Mercedes is 10th. Well, yeah, what a vital win for Cookie. Cannot believe not only the fact that he held on, but how many moments he had in those final laps. He was still pushing to keep it, but also probably pushing to just make sure those tires were going to stay alive somewhat to have a decent gap over TB.
I wonder.
Yeah.
I wonder what Cookie's tires were right at the end.
I'd love to know. Titan, two more things before we end off the stream. Well, before upcoming races we talk about too. But who would you give driver of the day to? There's some good options. We have Cookie, we have TB, we have Penguin, Andy on debut. We have Goat Lee, quite a promising showing as well. Again, Goat Lee's been best the rest of the season. I must say that it's similar to what I've seen from Liam Lawson this season in terms of the Racing Bull. You know, he just seems to put his car right there. Gasly as well has done so in real life. And Goat Lee's doing that here. He's just putting that Williams. You know, I mean, it's different in the game. It definitely is not where it should be, but he's still just choosing to be best of the rest, and it's awesome to see. I don't know if I give him driver of the day though, but he's a contender, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's up there with like TV, Penguin, as you mentioned. They both did really good. Game well deserved podiums that they really had to.
Yeah.
And oh man. I mean, TV had some really good ones too. And
yeah.
And then that last ditch shot by Penguin to get in the third, that was incredible.
That's what I'm torn about. I know. Torn Penguin, yeah. I'm torn about Torn Penguin.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I don't know,
and
man.
Well, I
Penguin's up there,
will say one honorable mention. Despite getting that lag out. Andy
what did
gave P5 despite that is very solid. So he doesn't have the driver today nod from me, but he is an honorable mention to put in there. And Cookie just put in 79%. That's
yeah,
like
I believe it.
On the verge of bursting.
So close to a puncture. Yeah, I'm interested to see what Andy's going to do in these upcoming races. You know, he's definitely a driver to watch in the future. He didn't win the race, obviously. He didn't get a podium. He could have had a podium, but he's a driver who just made a lot of noise today, and that's awesome to see. Yeah, it's between Cookie and Penguin, realistically. It's Penguin's second podium in RPL. I'm going to give it to Cookie, though. I mean, Penguin made some great moves. He put the Red Bull in the fight, which probably didn't deserve to be there, but Cookie chose the mediums, and he made him last. The gap on the restart going from ahead of TB 2-3 at that line, when we restarted to 1.8 after a lap, just insanity to give himself that much of a buffer while using that battery up first as well. Just giving himself that much of a buffer ahead of the rest to fight it out and have that comfortable lead. Think about that. If he did not give himself that buffer, DB would have put himself within a second on that final lap, would have had straight mode, would have had a chance to overtake, use that boost to the full extent. It could have been a whole different race if that didn't happen. And the thing is too, Cookie led it from the start to finish, really. He didn't really have anyone change things for him. It was just TB at the beginning, but after he stayed ahead of TB, just a commanding one. And even that race out of the pit lane with TB, keeping ahead there, keeping a calm head. It's races like that where you might not be the fastest, but you clearly have chose the right things to win yourself the race, and he did that again for 46th time, sixth on the season, excuse me, and a first time in Zandvoort doing it there, the Dutch Grand Prix.
Well, after thinking it all over, as much as I want to give credit to Cookie for his solid performance overall, but if we're going just from the race perspective, the main race perspective itself, I'm gonna give the driver of the day nod to Torn Penguin. He was consistent all race, and then that attack on Reese just blew everything out of the water, especially in that time where he did it. It was just insanity, and the bravery and just the gut to just go for it like that and having it successful. Yeah, that was very ballsy, and it paid off. So Penguin, I would definitely give my nod for DOTD for that.
Yes, exactly. Good arguments for both, by the way, regardless of who deserved it more. Yeah. Any final thoughts from this race, Titan, before we go talk about the upcoming races?
I should be golden.
I just want to say, Gecko's retirement, it sucks. It really does for him.
Mhm.
I wish he didn't give up, because you know
is
what?
our-
We had a safety car.
Gecko's
not
retirement,
over,
I
you know?
will say, Gecko's retirement, that also gives the nod for heartbreak of the race.
Oh yeah, for sure. But it's just, I don't like the decision to retire on track after that immediately. I totally get the frustration, but there's so much more to go in the race, and you're thinking to yourself, why continue? Well, clearly you saw the safety car that happened, and there's guys who put themselves right back in the fight. Red Fire did an overtaking masterclass just to get himself back in the points, and even a decent point spot with that being said. So it definitely, Gecko's, you gotta be, if you're Gecko, you gotta be in it for the long game, and he might have just sealed the deal with the way this title race is gonna go. It definitely turned itself upside down when he decided to retire. He not only decided to retire, but what he did on track with hitting the barrier from the curb. That was one thing, but retiring, that can change the game completely. So I wonder how things are going to go in the next upcoming races, because we have a lot of tracks that could change this championship outcome even further. Titan, we have coming up Monza next week. After that, we go to Madrid for the first time, then Baku, then Singapore. So we have Monza and then 3 street circuits back to back to back. What do you think is going to happen in these upcoming races? What are you expecting to happen? What are you looking forward to?
Well, Monza being the temple of speed, you gotta love some of the great high-speed racing and all that sort of stuff. Who knows what kind of chaos and bedlam will be on hand. But the 3 street circuits, I mean, Baku is tight, and we have seen some great racing and some crazy crashes. Mad Ring, I do not know what to expect. That is a track that really is unknown territory. And then with Singapore, well, the question is it going to be is it going to be dry, or is it going to be wet? Because you never know with that track. And let's hope Cookie doesn't get himself
Doesn't remember season 10?
DQ'd. Yes, doesn't get himself DQ'd.
If Gecko wins, it would be fun to see, because we would have kind of a similar outcome to today, where we would have the championship leader, DNF, and then the championship contender win. And I was going to say things like that, put Reese back in the fight, who's in third. So, not out of it yet, but Reese didn't really help himself with that final lap, that's for sure. Either way, we will see you folks next week in Monza, the final race of the month in August. Gonna find out how things play out there on the 29th of August. Next week, folks. RhinoCom31, RPL Tight Iron signing off. We'll see you next week for the Grand Prix in Monza.